Good afternoon.
And welcome.
I'm Thomas.
And I'm Jack.
And this is PTI. We are doing this week's episode. So obviously, let's address the first elephant in the room, Jack. Jack didn't get the memo for wearing the suit. I became prepared. You know, the little Stephen A vibe going on. What's good with this, Jack? This is really unprofessional to me.
Yeah, my bad, chat. But regardless of my outfit, today we're going to be talking about three different topic areas for us. First, we're going to be starting off with fantasy football. So let's just dive right into it.
So my two players to watch out for, the best rated player, I believe, obviously Bijan Robinson, very influential running back, is going to get you consistent points throughout your fantasy roster, and those who have him cannot drop him. And then an underrated pick. Normally, the kicker is a very slept-on position. People auto-draft kickers. But Brandon Aubrey, what an amazing kicker. He had 22 points in week 2, and he's a rugby player from Australia. He is like 30, but he can give you consistent points. Normally, kickers don't give a lot, but if you're a little bit away from a win and you're needing your kicker to support you and get you through that point deficit, he's going to be there, and those are my two picks. Jack, what do you think?
Yeah, see, Bonus, I have a big problem with that. There's just a gaping hole in your argument. See, the problem is that you're picking underrated people that are scoring consistent points, but not a lot of points. If you really want a good person...
Whoa! Consistent points, but not... A kicker normally averages around 8 to 10 points. 22 points for a kicker is game-changing for you in your fantasy roster. And if he's consistently doing that, that's a top player for you.
Yeah.
Most flex positions, you're going to want around the 22-point range. So if you have a kicker there, your team is amazing.
Yeah, maybe that's game-changing for you, Rook. But if you want a real fantasy football player, you need Malik Neighbors. In week 2 of the fantasy football season, he scored 37.7 fantasy football points for the New York Giants as a wide receiver. So there are a lot of statistically better players that you can be having on your team. And if you have none of them, then I'm just sorry for your loss. But speaking of statistically bad people, let's go straight into Florida's topic, which is DJ Lagway and a failing Florida football team.
Yeah, so Florida plays Miami this weekend, a little Florida rivalry, maybe not as tense, as sparked as maybe the FSU-Florida game. That has been a rivalry for the past decade or so, but I think Miami's going to come out on top. A lot of their same players stayed from last year. You know, you had the departure of Cam Ward, but Carson Beck, who came from Georgia, promising QB, maybe not as good as Cam Ward, but he's still bringing a lot. They had a big upset win over Notre Dame, which is unfortunately my team, but he brings so much influence to their offense, so much poise, so much experience, and Mark Fletcher Jr. is the leader in rushing yards at 272 yards, and I think those two together can really transform the program and beat UF this weekend, Jack. I know you're a UF fan, but what are your thoughts?
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to agree with you on this one. I am most definitely a proud Gator fan, but after last week's performance, UF, DJ Lagway, the starting quarterback, had 5 picks in one game alone. He had more picks than he had touchdowns. So it was definitely a really poor performance from UF. Now they're starting their season 1-2. So not the greatest, but could be worse. 0-3 is also not great. But speaking of things that aren't great, let's dive into the funny topic for this week, and that is pep rally.
Now, I had the unfortunate experience of being a part of the pep rally last week. We did this game of tag, and you pop a balloon. In the dark, I did not really understand it. I thought it was mediocre. I think they could be doing so much more, especially with the competition between grades. There needs to be a more competitive atmosphere.
Yeah.
And Jack, I know you mentioned in our conversations before, musical chairs has been the staple for Trinity pep rallies. Do you think we should bring them back, or are they a thing of the past?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously teachers or whoever's in charge is going to want to ban musical chairs because it's too dangerous for a pep rally. But, you know, looking back, some of my fondest memories from pep rallies is when that one massive senior just jumps over the chair, just completely obliterates the opponents and snags it from them. So it may be dangerous, but maybe dangerous what we need more of in our pep rallies.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think the exact description you just said could be me. You know, we're seniors this year. I think I'm going to win the pep rally musical chairs. Let's bring it back. Let's make a more competitive atmosphere, a more enjoyable experience for the students around, and not have that very dim, dark, not enjoyable experience like I've said before. So let's make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, we got big hopes for fantasy football, for the Gators, and for Trinity's future. But thank you so much for joining us with this week's PTI.
Like we said, I'm Thomas, and this is Jack. This is our PTI for this week, and we hope you tune in this week as well as next week as well.